Welcome back to the Love and Relationship Lab. When a man misses you, he often does this instead of chasing you. Most women have been taught to recognize missing someone in only one way. They imagine a man who cannot stop calling, a man who sends long messages at midnight, a man who admits he made a mistake and begs for another chance. But real emotions are often much quieter than that. Sometimes, when a man truly misses you, the first thing he does is not move closer. He creates distance. He becomes quieter, more reserved, harder to read. And this is where many women misunderstand what is happening. They look at his silence and immediately assume the worst. He doesn't care anymore. He has moved on. If he really wanted me, he would do something. But human emotions are more complicated than that. For many men, missing someone creates an internal conflict before it creates an external action. A man can feel a strong desire to reconnect while simultaneously fighting the urge to protect himself. One part of him remembers the connection, the conversations, the moments that made you different from everyone else. Another part of him remembers the fear, the uncertainty, the possibility of rejection. So instead of reaching out immediately, he processes, he thinks, he observes. He tries to understand what he is feeling before he exposes it. Many men are taught from an early age to control emotions rather than express them. Strength is often associated with appearing calm, independent, and unaffected. Because of this, saying, "I miss you," can feel much bigger than a simple sentence. To him, those words may represent vulnerability. They may mean admitting that someone still has an effect on him. They may mean accepting that he cares more than he wanted to. And for someone who values emotional control, that can feel uncomfortable. This is why silence can sometimes carry more emotion than words. A quiet man is not always an indifferent man. Sometimes silence is where the internal conversation happens. He may be remembering moments you shared. He may be comparing new experiences to what he had with you. He may notice small things that remind him of you. A song, a place, a conversation, a habit you had. The strange thing about absence is that it often reveals value. When someone is always present, the mind can become used to them. But when they are gone, their presence becomes more noticeable. The empty spaces become reminders. The missing conversations become louder. The ordinary moments become memories. This is why a man's feelings may change. Internally, before you ever see anything externally, his behavior may appear calm, but his thoughts may not be. One of the first signs that something has shifted is attention. Attention is one of the most honest forms of emotional energy. When someone matters to you, your mind naturally moves toward them. A man who misses you may begin paying attention again, not necessarily in obvious ways, not always with dramatic messages. Sometimes it appears through small actions. He checks your updates. He notices changes. He becomes curious about your life. He remembers details you thought he forgot. These small moments can reveal that you are still occupying space in his mind. But there is an important difference between attention and commitment. Someone watching from a distance does not automatically mean they are ready to return. A signal is not the same as a decision. This is why women should not build their entire emotional world around interpreting every small action. The purpose of understanding these signs is not to wait around. It is to see reality more clearly. A healthy connection requires more than hidden feelings. It requires effort, honesty, and consistency. Another common sign is emotional sensitivity. When someone still has feelings, they often become more aware of your presence. Your tone matters more. Your reactions matter more. Your distance feels stronger. A simple change in your behavior may affect him more than he expected. He may not openly admit this. Instead, it may appear through small changes. He becomes warmer one day and distant the next. He seems interested, then suddenly retreats. This push and pull can happen when someone wants connection but fears vulnerability. Inside, there is a battle. I want to move closer, but what if I get hurt? I want to say something, but what if she doesn't feel the same? This emotional conflict creates hesitation, and hesitation can look like confusion from the outside. But the most important thing to remember is this: you should never have to chase someone into choosing you. Understanding someone's emotions does not mean abandoning your own standards. A man's silence should never become a place where you lose your peace. The strongest position you can hold is calm awareness. You can recognize that someone may be processing feelings while still asking yourself, is this person showing up in a way that matches what I deserve? Because feelings alone are not enough. Someone can miss you and still not be ready. Someone can care about you and still lack the courage or maturity to build something healthy. That is why behavior matters more than assumptions. The real question is not only, does he miss me? The deeper question is he willing to act with honesty, consistency, and respect? When a man truly begins moving back toward you, the signs become clearer. Not through one message, not through one emotional moment. Through patterns, his attention becomes more consistent, his effort becomes more visible, his presence becomes more stable. The confusion starts disappearing because his actions begin matching his emotions. And that is when silence begins to transform. It stops being a wall. It becomes the space before communication. Because eventually, emotions that are strong enough usually search for expression. The heart can stay quiet for a while, but behavior always reveals what words are trying to hide. When missing you turns into wanting you back. When a man moves from simply missing you to genuinely wanting you back, something changes. The emotion becomes less about memories and more about movement. At first, he may only feel the absence. He remembers you. He wonders how you are. He notices that something feels different without you. But eventually, missing someone can create a deeper realization. I don't just miss the person. I miss what I had with that person. This is where his behavior begins to shift. The first change is often that his attention becomes more intentional. Before, he may have been watching from a distance. Now, he starts creating small opportunities for connection. Not always through a dramatic confession, Not always through a big apology. Sometimes it starts with simple things. A message about something random. A question he could have answered himself. A reason to start a conversation. A memory he suddenly brings up. These moments may appear casual, but often they are attempts to reopen a door without risking too much emotionally. Many men struggle with making the first vulnerable move, because the first move requires admitting something important. I still care, and caring creates risk. If he reaches out and you respond coldly, he has to face rejection. If he admits he misses you and you no longer feel the same, he has to face that he waited too long. So instead, many men test emotional safety first. They look for signs. Are you still open? Are you angry? Have you changed? Would reconnecting bring peace or more pain? This is why your response matters. Not because you need to perform or manipulate his emotions, but because healthy connection requires emotional stability from both people. A calm response creates space. A desperate response creates pressure. A person who feels pressured often protects themselves. A person who feels emotionally safe becomes more willing to open. This is why personal growth is so powerful after a separation. Not because you are trying to make someone jealous, not because you are trying to prove something, but because becoming stronger changes the entire dynamic. When someone sees that you have grown, become calmer, and build your own happiness, they see you differently. They realize they cannot simply return to the old version of the relationship. They would have to meet the new version of you, and that can create both attraction and reflection. He may start thinking about the moments when he underestimated your value. He may remember the things you brought into his life that he did not fully appreciate. Regret often does not arrive as a dramatic, emotional speech. Sometimes regret appears quietly. More effort, more attention, more consideration, more willingness to understand you. Another important shift happens when a man becomes less focused on protecting his pride and more focused on rebuilding trust. Early on, pride can be powerful. He may think, why should I be the one to reach out? What if she doesn't care anymore? What if I look foolish? But when the desire for connection becomes stronger than the fear of vulnerability, his behavior changes. He stops trying to appear unaffected. He becomes more genuine. He starts showing more of his real thoughts and emotions. This does not always happen through a perfect confession. Many men reveal themselves gradually. They share something personal. They ask deeper questions. They become curious about your world again. They want to know what has changed, what you have learned, who you have become. This is a major difference between temporary curiosity and genuine, emotional interest. Curiosity asks, what is she doing? Connection asks, who is she becoming? When a man begins asking deeper questions, he is often trying to understand whether there is still a future possibility. But this is also where women need to stay grounded. A man's interest is not the same as a commitment. Someone can miss you. Someone can think about you. Someone can even want another chance. But what matters is, whether they are willing to create something healthier than before. Love is not proven by longing alone. It is proven through consistent action. The strongest sign that a man truly wants you back is not jealousy. It is not watching your social media. It is not sending random messages. The strongest sign is consistency. He becomes dependable. He follows through. He communicates instead of disappearing. He takes responsibility instead of avoiding difficult conversations. He makes room for you instead of only seeking attention when he feels lonely. Because wanting someone and being ready for someone are two different things. A mature man does not only miss your presence, he understands your value. He understands that connection requires effort. He understands that love cannot survive on feelings alone. And this is where the power shifts back to you. The goal was never to spend your life analyzing every silent moment. The goal was never to become an expert at decoding someone who refuses to communicate. The goal is clarity. You want to understand what is happening while still protecting your own peace. A woman who stays grounded does not chase confusion. She does not beg for someone to recognize her value. She does not lose herself trying to convince someone to choose her. She watches actions. She notices patterns. You want to know what has changed, what you have learned, who you have become. This is a major difference between temporary curiosity and genuine, emotional interest. Curiosity asks, "What is she doing?" Connection asks, "Who is she becoming?" When a man begins asking deeper questions, he is often trying to understand whether there is still a future possibility. But this is also where women need to stay grounded. A man's interest is not the same as a commitment. Someone can miss you. Someone can think about you. Someone can even want another chance. But what matters is whether they are willing to create something healthier than before. Love is not proven by longing alone. It is proven through consistent action. The strongest sign that a man truly wants you back is not jealousy. It is not watching your social media. It is not sending random messages. The strongest sign is consistency. He becomes dependable. He follows through. He communicates instead of disappearing. He takes responsibility instead of avoiding difficult conversations. He makes room for you instead of only seeking attention when he feels lonely. Because wanting someone and being ready for someone are two different things. A mature man does not only miss your presence, he understands your value. He understands that connection requires effort. He understands that love cannot survive on feelings alone. And this is where the power shifts back to you. The goal was never to spend your life analyzing every silent moment. The goal was never to become an expert at decoding someone who refuses to communicate. The goal is clarity. You want to understand what is happening while still protecting your own peace. A woman who stays grounded does not chase confusion. She does not beg for someone to recognize her value. She does not lose herself trying to convince someone to choose her. She watches actions. She notices patterns. She allows people to reveal who they truly are. Because the right person will not only feel something for you, They will create something with you. And when a man truly chooses you, you will not have to constantly translate his behavior. His actions will become clear. His presence will become consistent. His intentions will become easier to trust. The deepest lesson is this: do not measure your worth by someone's silence. A person's inability to express themselves does not determine your value. Your power comes from knowing that you can be loved without chasing, chosen without begging, and respected without proving yourself. Sometimes silence hides feelings. Sometimes silence reveals distance. The difference is always found in the pattern. Look at the effort. Look at the consistency. Look at the character. Because in the end, the most attractive energy is not desperation for an answer. It is peace with yourself. When you are grounded, you stop asking, "How do I make him miss me?" And you start asking, "Is this someone who deserves access to me?" That is where real confidence begins. Because the woman who knows her worth does not chase love. She recognizes it when it arrives. Before we end, let's quickly bring all 10 silent signals together. First, his attention returns. He starts noticing you again, watching quietly, checking your updates, or becoming more aware of your presence. Second, he creates small reasons to reconnect. A casual message, a random question, or an excuse to start a conversation becomes his safe way of reopening the door. Third, he becomes more sensitive to your absence. Your silence, your distance, or even a delayed reply affects him more than he lets on. Fourth, subtle jealousy begins to appear. Seeing you happy or giving your attention to someone else creates an emotional reaction, even if he tries to hide it. Fifth, memories become stronger. He starts replaying moments you shared and realizes the value of what he once had. Sixth, his communication changes. When you do interact, he replies more quickly, more thoughtfully, and with greater emotional presence. Seventh, his curiosity about your life grows. He genuinely wants to know how you're doing, what has changed, and who you've become. Eighth, he slowly opens up emotionally. Instead of keeping everything inside, he begins sharing small pieces of his inner world and becomes more vulnerable. Ninth, his behavior becomes more consistent. The hot and cold pattern starts fading, and his actions begin matching his intentions. And finally, 10th, he starts making room for a future with you. He doesn't just revisit the past. He begins showing up consistently, investing in the connection, and looking for ways to build something meaningful again. Remember, none of these signals should be judged in isolation. One sign by itself doesn't prove that he misses you. What matters is the overall pattern. Consistent attention, genuine effort, emotional growth, and reliable actions always speak louder than words. Most importantly, never lose yourself trying to decode someone else's silence. Your peace, your self-respect, and your emotional well-being matter more than any unanswered question. The right person won't leave you guessing forever. In time, their actions will make their intentions clear. Thank you for watching, and let us know if this video helped you understand the hidden language behind silence. Your comments helps this video reach more people who are trying to understand love, emotions, and relationships. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder to stop confusing silence with rejection. And subscribe for more videos about emotional intelligence, relationship psychology, and deeper human connection.